I'm Bridget Stomberg.
And I'm Lisa DeSimone.
And this is Taxes for the Masses.
Today's episode is on U.S. taxes for immigrants.
In November 2025, a federal judge stopped the IRS from sharing taxpayer information with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. In today's episode, we discuss what information immigrants in the U.S., even those who are not here lawfully, provide to the IRS, and why ICE may want access to this information. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, B.
So today we're diving into a whole bunch of topics that usually get people's blood pressure up. Talking about immigration, taxes, and the government's attempt to turn the IRS into a private investigator.
Yeah, it's hard to watch TV or listen to the radio these days without hearing our current Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, talking about illegal or undocumented immigrants and how she's coming for them. Is that just a Texas thing?
I imagine it's more of a thing in Texas. I don't think it's very much an Indiana thing, but we hear about it a lot because of things that are going on in Chicago. So I'd say we're fairly adjacent to a state where we've got a lot of immigration issues cropping up. I don't know. I would think it's probably pretty hard to ignore anywhere right now.
Yeah. And then there's this whole hubbub about the IRS disclosing information to ICE. Safe to say immigration issues have made a lot of headlines lately. And so it seemed only logical to take a step back and inform ourselves about these issues, starting with, what does it mean to be an illegal immigrant in the U.S.?
So disclaimer here, this is a complicated area and neither one of us are immigration lawyers or experts. And so for the first part of this, we're drawing on the interwebs.
Yes.
And the interwebs is telling us that illegal or undocumented immigrants are foreign-born, non-U.S. citizens who either entered the U.S. without being legally authorized to do so, or they entered the U.S. with legal authorization, but they have overstayed that time that they were authorized to be here, which is often the case with a work visa, a tourist visa, or a school visa. Sometimes when you get a visa, it allows you to be in the U.S. or any country for only a specific amount of time. And if you overstay that time, you are all of a sudden here illegally.
Yeah. Okay. So that all makes sense. The question I had when thinking about this episode, though, was if they're not here in the U.S. working legally, why does the IRS have information about them at all?
I think that is a very good question. And I think this is where we can step in and maybe inform some people. And we've also kind of entered this classic debate of, immigrants don't pay taxes versus, wait, how much taxes did they actually pay? Because to your point, if the IRS has any information about you, it's probably because you're a taxpayer.
Yeah. Exactly. So let's start with the basics because there's a massive amount of misinformation out there.
Yes.
So contrary to what your loudest uncle might have said at Thanksgiving, undocumented immigrants pay nearly $100 billion in federal, state, and local taxes back in 2022.
And $100 billion is a lot of dollars.
It's not nothing.
Now, we all know that I do not like filing my taxes.
Yes, we do.
And if we're being honest, I don't know a ton about individual taxes.
So you claim.
But I do know that when I file my tax return, I put my social security number on it.
Yes.
Gosh darn it.
Yes.
So riddle me this. How do people who are in the U.S. illegally and who don't have social security numbers, how do they even pay federal income tax? Because I'm assuming that the IRS does not accept a check with a sticky note on it.
Yeah, I'm assuming that as well. Something called an ITIN, or an individual taxpayer identification number. And as of 2021, there were over 5.4 million active ITINs being used to file taxes.
Yes. Okay. Now it is coming back to me.
Yeah.
So it is the case that people who work in the U.S. without being legally authorized to be in the U.S. can still get paychecks.
Yep.
They can still have their employer report their income to the IRS on a W-2 and so on. And they're doing that via this ITIN rather than via an SSN.
Exactly. So this is part of the paperwork you fill out when you start a job. right? As a non-U.S. citizen, you'd fill out a Form W-7, which provides information about you to the IRS, and only people without a social security number or who are not eligible to get a social security number get an ITIN instead.
And social security numbers are only for people who are authorized to be in the U.S., like citizens, permanent residents, or people with a school or a work visa.
Yes. So even though you're not technically allowed to be in the U.S., if someone's willing to employ you illegally,
Yep.
potentially subjecting the employer to fines if they're found out.
Yep.
But it happens all the time. So they're willing to employ you. You fill out a W-7, you get an ITIN, you collect your paycheck, you file a tax return, and that's just for federal income taxes.
Yep.
You're also going to owe state income taxes if your state has an income tax, property taxes if you own property, and about 60% of undocumented immigrants have payroll taxes taken right out of their paychecks. So for Social Security and Medicare.
So what that means is that illegal immigrants who are working in the U.S. and filing these forms, they are paying taxes. They are paying for roads. They are paying for infrastructure. They are paying for public schools. They are contributing to the social safety net, just like the rest of us who are here legally and working legally.
Yep. In 2022, they contributed $25.7 billion to Social Security and $6.4 billion to Medicare. And here's the kicker. They are legally barred from ever receiving Social Security or Medicare benefits. They also paid $1.88 billion into unemployment insurance, but if they lose their jobs, they cannot claim a cent of unemployment.
So basically, the U.S. government is running some sort of mandatory potluck dinner where undocumented immigrants have to bring food, but they aren't allowed to actually eat any of it.
Ooh, I'm kind of loving that analogy. I wasn't sure where you're going with that, but I like it.
I mean, it's a solid analogy, but it sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. Even lawfully present immigrants often face a 5-year bar before they can touch things like Medicaid or SNAP, which provide healthcare and food benefits to lower income workers. Most of the benefits attributed to these households are actually for their U.S.-born children, like school lunches or emergency medical services. One source even suggests that over her lifetime, an immigrant would pay $200,000 more in taxes than they'll ever use in benefits.
That's a lot. Now, to be fair, others argue that immigrants are a net drain on the tax system because they contribute relatively little on account of having lower paid jobs. But they're still paying into a system that they will never benefit from. So it's kind of like, hey, pay for my retirement while you're not ever allowed to retire.
It is kind of like that. And then we have DACA, which is basically the legal limbo capital of the world.
DACA.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard this
a
lot.
Yep.
I know it stands for something.
Yeah, it does, yes.
I know it has something to do with deferral.
Good.
And not tax deferral.
No.
Immigration deferral.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay. I was right there with you until we started researching this episode. So DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, and it started in 2012 under Obama for the so-called Dreamers.
Okay, yes. I remember Obama talking about Dreamers.
Okay.
These are undocumented immigrants that we defined up at the top of the episode. But specifically, it is those who were brought to the U.S. as children.
Yes.
So DACA is giving some protection to undocumented immigrants brought to the U.S. as kids, but it is not a permanent situation.
No, it's not. It's not a green card. A green card provides permanent residency for non-citizens. DACA instead is a temporary shield from deportation that comes along with a work permit, and it's renewable every 2 years.
Every 2 years?
2 years.
Okay, I can't decide if that's a long time or not a long time.
I agree.
It feels long in the sense that some visas or authorizations to be in the U.S., like a tourist visa, are much, much shorter.
Yeah.
But it seems short or not long in the sense that these people may have lived most of their lives in the U.S. and they have to reapply every 2 years to be able to stay.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear ya. As of March 2025, there are about 525,000 active recipients, but the courts have been playing a very stressful game of tug of war with this. So the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals recently said that the work permit might be unlawful, especially in the state of Texas.
Okay, and I probably know the answer to this before I even ask it, but why Texas?
I don't think you know the answer.
Okay.
It's not just because Texas is a, giant red state.
Okay.
Yeah.
On a border.
Right. That may have something to do with
Okay.
it. But my home state proved that it suffered actual injury, that's the technical term,
Okay.
from the program by having to fund things like public education, emergency healthcare costs, law enforcement, and other public services to the Dreamers.
And Texas is the only state that's providing benefits to the Dreamers?
No. But so far, Texas is the only state to demonstrate in courts that it had to provide these things and suffered financial burdens as a consequence. So now DACA recipients in Texas might be able to stay in the country, but they might lose that legal right to work.
Okay, what?
Yeah.
So first, that seems like being given keys to the car, but then being told that you can't drive the car because you can't buy gas.
Yeah. Or keys to a car, but we won't give you a license.
But here's my other question.
Yeah.
Be in the country, but we're not going to let you work.
Yeah.
So then we're not going to
Who
let
are
you
we
contribute to
incentivizing?
your own well-being and welfare, and we're not going to collect tax revenue from you that we could use to fund those services that we complained about funding in the first place?
I'm on your side, sister.
I mean, make it make sense.
Yeah. It doesn't.
Okay.
Okay, so we've defined undocumented immigrants and dreamers. We've talked about what taxes they pay and how, and we've also discussed that many of them don't receive the benefits of these taxes like Social Security or Medicare. Let's move to our second act, the great IRS-ICE information swap of 2025.
This should be fun.
Yeah.
So 2025 saw a lot of headlines about people in the Trump administration trying to access IRS information. You may remember Elon Musk and his Doge boys.
Yeah.
So let's be clear up front that according to the IRS website, quote, information a taxpayer gives the IRS won't be shared with outside parties unless allowed by the taxpayer or by law, end quote.
Good. Okay. Further, violations of such confidentiality, such as unlawfully sharing taxpayer information collected by the IRS, are subject to both civil and criminal penalties. In other words, it is a crime to share taxpayer information outside the IRS unless allowed by the taxpayer or by law.
And that is why people have been up in arms since they heard other parts of Trump's administration wanted access to IRS data.
Yep. Nonetheless, on April 7th of 2025, the IRS and ICE signed a memorandum of understanding. This was a massive, massive shift because, as you said, traditionally the IRS is supposed to be like a vault. They don't share your data unless you're running a cartel or a major criminal enterprise.
But under this deal, they were basically becoming pen pals with ICE.
Yep. The agreement allowed ICE to ask for the names, home addresses, and tax records of people they suspected were undocumented or had final deportation orders. ICE even hinted that they wanted help locating up to 7 million people.
And I think we can all agree that it's clearly the baddest of the baddies who are the ones paying taxes to the IRS voluntarily.
Yeah.
Let's kick them out.
Yeah.
Immediately. Okay. Yeah, so back to our potluck analogy that you liked.
I did.
The IRS-ICE agreement was like the host of the potluck trying to give the guest list to a bounty hunter.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm not going to guess, I'm going to hope that IRS employees were not thrilled about this new tattletale initiative.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They were not thrilled at all. It was a total office meltdown. Melanie Krause, the acting IRS commissioner, actually resigned in protest.
Yikes.
And 2 other top privacy officers, Kathleen Walters and Teresa Hunter, also quit because they felt the deal violated taxpayer privacy laws.
Oh, they did? They felt that way?
They felt that way,
Okay.
yes.
When the people whose job it is to literally protect your privacy, the
Yes.
top privacy officers
officers
quit because they can't protect your privacy.
Yeah.
Seems like a bad sign.
It's not good. So obviously the fear was that if people thought the tax man was also a deportation agent, they'd stop filing taxes.
You think, Governor?
Yeah. We're talking about a potential $40 billion hit to federal tax revenue if compliance drops even a tiny bit.
I mean, so essentially what you're saying is that the government was willing to set billions, tens of billions of dollars of tax revenue on fire just to get some addresses, again, of people who are voluntarily paying into the tax system.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then in 2025, a federal judge in a case between the Center for Taxpayer Rights and the IRS stepped in and said, no, absolutely not.
Well, thank God for small favors.
Yeah.
Not that I care because I think it's the right answer, but was this ruling based on, privacy as a basic human right kind of thing? Or was it more like a you didn't fill out the right box on paperwork kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
So the judge ruled that the agreement was likely unlawful and directly violated the IRS's own privacy and confidentiality policies.
No dibs, Sherlock.
Yeah. The order blocked the IRS from sharing any further records with ICE or the Department of Homeland Security as a whole.
So the judge basically told the IRS, if you let the bounty hunter into the potluck, no one is going to come to the party.
Yes.
And they're certainly not going to bring the appetizer they're famous for. And the party will be ruined for everyone.
What appetizer are you famous for?
Oh, me?
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes.
But
potato chips?
No.
Pretzels?
We used to make a black bean salsa.
Yes.
Derek used to make a black bean salsa.
Yes.
So he's famous for that. But I used to make a white bean dip.
Oh.
That was very fondly thought of.
Very
I can also do a
nice.
7-layer.
Okay.
Dip because it just involves opening cans. And,
Yes.
And
it is not hard.
It is not hard.
Yeah.
But it's good.
It is delicious. Yes.
I think that's it. How about
Okay.
you? A cheese platter.
Cheese platter, cheese balls if I'm going to be fancy. I make my own balls.
Okay.
My balls are to die for.
I was going to say there's got to be some delicious dish reference.
Taste my sweaty balls.
What'd you put in your balls? How many of your balls will fit in someone's mouth?
My balls are here for your pleasure.
You need to say it. My balls are here for your pleasure.
Ladies, my balls are here for your pleasure.
Thank you, Alec Baldwin.
Yes.
Okay, so back to the lesson at hand.
Yes, the court wanted to keep the IRS as a neutral financial authority rather than a branch of the police.
Genius.
Yeah. If people are too scared to file, guess what? The whole system collapses.
It's a good reminder that even the IRS has boundaries.
Thank goodness.
And principles.
Yes.
They want your money. Yes. But they don't necessarily want to be the ones dragging you out of the country.
Yeah.
Especially not if it costs them $40 billion in tax revenue.
And that's where we are now. You pay your taxes, you hope the court protects your data, and you pray you don't live in Texas if you have DACA.
And by the way, DACA requires an application process with paperwork filled with names, addresses, and other information. Applicants and their allies have long been concerned that the information they provide to the federal government could be used against them if DACA ends. And that seems like a well-founded concern.
Yes, Trump did indeed try to end DACA during his first term in 2017. It was overturned at the time by the Supreme Court, but of course, states are working their way through the courts just like Texas.
It truly is it's a really peaceful, relaxing time for everyone involved.
Like, I never watched the show, but like, isn't this kind of like Big Brother?
I have no idea. It
Okay.
doesn't sound good.
Yeah. Time for our favorite part of the episode, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I
hope you have something.
I enjoyed learning what the legal definition of undocumented worker was,
Okay.
undocumented immigrant, understanding that they could still work. There would be some employers who would
Yes.
hire them or at least contract with them. And therefore that they are filing tax returns, paying taxes, paying payroll taxes. It's always been a question in the back of my mind. I've heard these things, I've seen headlines, but I never understood how it all worked. And so I was pleased to better understand all of that.
That is true. And it seems like we were able to uncover some facts and figures here that maybe can put to rest the debate of like everybody's here just as a big drain on the system.
Right.
I don't think $40 billion a year is a big drain on the system in
Not to
aggregate.
mention the fact that a lot of the jobs that the undocumented immigrants are doing are not jobs that American citizens want to do.
Correct. Or would do.
Right.
Yes. 100%. 100%. You're right. That is good. I also very, very, very happy that the courts intervened to preserve the confidentiality of taxpayer information.
Oh, yeah.
Because let's face facts. Like, this is one of those things it's easy to say, like, oh, yeah, give them the addresses of the undocumented people. But do you want them to do you want them to have or publicize all of your data?
Right.
Like,
where's it end?
right. I mean,
Yeah.
we're big on privacy in this country.
Yeah.
You don't want people knowing how much you make or what charities you give money to. All of that like, just think about everything that the IRS knows about you.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's medical information. It's charitable giving. It's sources of income. It's what you invest in.
It's what you invest in. Yeah.
I mean, you could learn a lot about a person by looking at their tax return. And if we start down this slope of like the IRS can release it for X, what's to say that they can't release it for Y?
Yeah.
So very happy to hear that there are some courts out there that are working to protect confidentiality. Very happy to hear that the people at the IRS didn't take it laying down.
That was the other thing. The badass women who decided they weren't going to be a part of it.
Right.
They would resign over it.
Love that. And probably did it at a time when it wasn't super easy to go get another federal job. Like everybody, positions were being cut. We were in freezes during some point of the year. So that took a lot of cheese balls to quit and say, I don't really know what's going to happen to me personally, but I'm not going to be a part of this.
Delightful.
I think we did a really good job of squeezing some goodness out of this topic.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
The whole thing is a giant
just
mess.
Sucks.
Yeah. It's all bad. I hate the idea of all of this. Like the fact that, DACA recipients have to apply every 2 years. Many of them are not adults.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Like, when do you have to start applying? Do you have to start applying only when you're 18? Or, like, are you some 14-year-old having to apply for a work permit?
I want to say you start at 16. I don't remember.
Okay.
But, yeah, I don't know. I don't love that. I don't love using the information on the DACA filings or your tax return to, like, try to hunt people down. People who are not drug lords.
This is now we're getting off the topic of tax, so people can shut it off if they want to shut it off. But yes, is the idea of locking up anybody who is a menace to society, regardless of where you were born, am I supportive of that? Yes. Like if you're selling drugs to people, I don't care if you were born, I don't care where you were born.
Yeah.
You need to stop doing that. Yeah. And you need to not be able to do that.
If you're hurting other people.
If you're hurting other human beings on a small scale, on a large scale.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
But the fact that it is easiest to go after people who pay their taxes, who show up to to their immigration court appointments, like that is where ICE is hanging out to throw people out. Like those are not the people that you want to kick out of this country.
Yeah.
And that is where it's really hard to watch. The techniques and the tactics and all of the videos that you see, it's just gross. And the fact that like this is the way that we're going to use tax return information, I hate it. It makes my skin crawl.
Because here's a thought. How many drug lords do you think are filing a tax return reporting all of their income? Like, is this the best source of information to go find people who are harming society?
No, this was this is not the best, the best way to do it. I mean, it worked with Al Capone. Let's leave that in the past.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was the ugly, is that immigration is it's such a political hot button right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just two sides of people in a room screaming at each other and nobody has a good grip on the facts. And so, yeah, I'm at least happy that we were able to maybe start to put some factual information into the discourse around this.
Agreed.
Because it's just unpleasant.
It's a mess.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Be sure to join us for more tax nerdery on future episodes of Taxes for the Masses.